I'm going to go over exactly what we expect with an informational text summary and question answering. So this is something we went over in class many times. So students pay attention, parents pay attention. This is exactly what students should do when they get an informational text, when they're going to summarize it. Now, you'll see in the instructions when we talk about summarizing an informational text, we say you take 1 to 2 main idea sentences from the whole article and put them together to form the summary. 1 or 2 main idea sentences from each section. So most informational texts, like this one here, the history of Earth Day, comes in sections. We have this first intro part, then we have a subheading, then we have this part, then we have another subheading and this part. So the idea is that you'll write 1 or 2 main idea sentences of this section, 1 or 2 main idea sentences of this section, 1 or 2 main ideas of this section. And then you put those sentences together and that will form your summary. Now, what is a main idea? The main idea is after you read something, in your own words, you retell just the most important idea that the author wanted to get across. So we'd have to read that. Now, it's very important for a student to understand a text that they use all the text features to be successful. For instance, this one, the first thing you would do is you would read the history of Earth Day. All right, and then you start thinking. You should think to yourself, Earth Day. Earth Day is the day that we celebrate taking care of our planet. We celebrate it at school. I'm sure some families celebrate it at home and things like that. The history, of course, means how did it come about? So I know that I'm going to probably read this story and learn about how Earth Day was made up. And then I see these 2 girls. It looks like they're planting a tree, right? And then I can read the caption. Jordan Blosser on the right and her friend, both second grade students from Ramstein Elementary School, plant a tree together in honor of Earth Day on April 22nd, 2015 at Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany. So this is happening in Germany. And then I'll look down here. The first subheading I come to is Dreams of a Larger Event. So somewhere in the history, somebody dreamt about a huge event. So having to do with Earth Day. And then this section here says protecting people and nature. So we know that Earth Day has something to do with protecting people and nature. This is a picture of a large crowd. I assume it goes with this large event dreams. And then I see here, looks like some elected officials signing something into law. So that's what I'm assuming is happening. So now I understand that this is about the history of Earth Day, how it came to be. Somebody dreams about this event, and then protecting nature and people becomes something important. So that's what I got as my overview, just looking at the text features. The next part, I'm going to go ahead and read this intro part here, all of this section. I'm going to do this out loud, and I'm going to talk about what I think is a good main idea. Now, when you're writing your main idea, you can write it out on a piece of paper. You can start your own Google Doc like I've done here to type it. You can type it into the answer box, whatever you need to do when you're writing your sentences. Let's go ahead and start our reading. Earth Day was founded in 1970. So as you're reading, we encourage the students to be thinking. Reading is thinking. So 1970, that was a long time ago, before students were born, before Mr. Malazzo was born, it was a long time ago. It is a day to learn about nature and the planet. Today, Earth Day is celebrated around the world. Earth Day was created by Senator Gaylord Nelson. He wanted people to care about the Earth. Nelson hoped to raise awareness of pollution. He thought this would make people care about protecting the planet. So that section I learned about this guy, Nelson Gaylord, wanted people to protect the planet, so he invented Earth Day. Let's go on to this next section. In the 1960s, Americans became more aware of pollution. Remember, 1970 is when it was invented, so this is before Earth Day was created. Before then, protecting the planet was not something people cared about very much. Only a small number of people were working on big problems like pollutions. Companies polluted without getting in trouble. People drove big cars that used lots of gasoline. Not many Americans recycled. Most did not even know what recycling was. So after reading the second paragraph, I'm realizing people didn't take care of our planet, and a lot of them didn't even know how to. So when I want to summarize this entire section, I want to do a main idea. What did I learn? What did the author want to convey? In this first section, we learned that Gaylord Nelson made up Earth Day as a way to get people to want to take care of the planet. Why did he do this? Because people didn't know anything about taking care of the planet and they were polluting. So I'm going to put that in my main idea sentence. So the first section is many Americans were polluting and had no idea how to take care of the planet. So Gaylord Nelson invented Earth Day. So that is my first sentence of the first section. Many Americans, and of course I'm correcting my writing, many Americans were polluting and had no idea how to take care of the planet. So Gaylord Nelson invented Earth Day to teach people how to care for the earth. Boom. So people were polluting, so he invented Earth Day to show them how to take care of it. That is a main idea of this first section. Now, I'm not going to read the whole entire article, but you would do the same thing for the second section. You would read the whole thing. Then you would stop and think, what does the author want me to get from this? And then you would read the last section. What does the author want me to get from this section? Then I'm going to go ahead and do them on my own. So I'm going to pause the video, and then I'll go over what I came up with for those sections. All right, after reading the second section, Dreams of a Large Event and Protecting People and Nature, I came up with these main idea sentences. The second section was Nelson was inspired by all the people who were protesting the Vietnam War. So he designed a big event that would teach people about taking care of the earth and urge them to do their part. And then the last part, the last section, Protecting People and Nature, I wrote that it said, the Earth Day event worked, and every year more and more people are participating and more laws are changing to help protect our planet. Now, these different main idea sections, after I've written all the different main idea sections, I put them together and form a paragraph, and that will be our summary. Make sure that when you're writing a paragraph, you indent. I can put all three of these sentences together. Now I have a solid summary, one paragraph that summarizes the entire article. Now, I want you to know I didn't copy any sentences from the story. The summary is completely in my words. I read the article. I stopped and thought for a second. What did the author want me to know? And then I wrote in my own words what it's about. Writing a summary is not copying a couple of sentences from the story. In fact, none of your summary should be copied unless you're putting a specific quote in which case it should be in parentheses or quotation marks rather, and it's for the purpose of, it's really important to summarizing. In this situation, there are no quotes. I use my words to summarize this entire article, and that's exactly what our students are expected to do for the summary. You take one or two sentences of each main idea of each section, one that comes from your words, not copying a sentence out of the story. You're writing in your own words, and you put all those your main ideas from each section together, and that forms a complete summary. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and good luck.